Hello everyone, this is your Nalini ma'am. Welcome to Homeschool, and we are with the chapter The Language of Chemistry, class 9 of ICSE syllabus. We already covered two videos on this chapter, where the first video includes the introduction part and the second video is all about the valency, isn't it? So I discussed each and everything about the valency, and today we are with one more interesting topic, that is writing chemical formulae using valency. Say, to learn this topic, you must compulsorily understand what do you mean by valency and how do you take the valency for different metals, non-metals, and the groups called polyatomic groups, etc. Okay, and if you can go to the description, you will find the link on valency. So first you have to revise on valency, then come to this video and learn how to write chemical formulae using valency. Okay, so let us have fun in learning chemical formulae. See here, the first and foremost, what you have to do is, say, I'll start with an example. The first example is, I want to write the chemical formulae for aluminium sulfate. Which compound? Aluminium sulfate. Okay, so what may be the formulae for aluminium sulfate? You know, the first and foremost, you have to write their symbols. Okay, so what is step number 1? Step number 1 is writing symbols. Okay, so let me write their symbols now. What is the symbol of aluminium? Aluminium is a metal, yes, that is placed in the 13th group of periodic table. Okay, so how do you write the symbol for aluminium? It is Al. You know, this much idea you should have before learning the formulae, otherwise you will not get it. You should have idea on writing a symbol, as well as you should have idea on valency very clearly. Fine. So I have written a symbol for aluminium. Next you have to write a symbol for sulfate. And sulfate is not the element that is present in a periodic table, isn't it? Sulfate is one particular group. What do we call it as? We call it as polyatomic group. Okay, sulfur and oxygen combined to form a group. So we call it as polyatomic group. So what is the symbol for polyatomic group? SO4. Okay, and whenever polyatomic group is there, you indicate it in bracket to avoid the confusion. It is not that every time you should put a bracket and indicate them. Just to avoid the confusion in the initial level, we put the polyatomic group in a bracket. Okay, fine. And now step number 2. Step number 2 is indicate their valencies below the symbols. Okay, so indicate or write the valencies below the symbol. Okay, so how do you do that? I'll write the symbols once again here, Al and SO4. Okay, so this is the symbols, and below them indicate their valencies. So what is the aluminium's valency? Aluminium belongs to 13th group element, where all the elements under 13th group will have +3 valency, isn't it? So what is the valency of aluminium? +3 valency. In my last video, I also told you the easiest way of remembering valency. If you can remember group wise, it will be easy for you. You no need to remember for every element. Okay, so group wise valency I gave you in the last video. Please go back and have a look on a video. Fine. So aluminium's valency is +3, guys. And sulfate is a polyatomic group. All polyatomic groups valencies also I mentioned in the previous video. Just go to that. And sulfate's valency is -2. Okay, and here plus and minus you no need to use. Okay, so here you don't have any significance for plus and minus. So without a symbol, just indicate a digit. Okay, no need to indicate the valency with sign. So anyway, plus has a different meaning, minus has a different meaning, isn't it? Plus means, see, this particular aluminium has lost 3 electrons during a chemical reaction. Whenever I put +3, what does it mean? The aluminium will lose 3 electrons during a chemical reaction. Okay, so that is the meaning. So plus and minus meanings are entirely different, but here you will not be using any signs here. Just indicate the digit of a valency. Okay, fine. And the last step what you have to do is do a crisscross. Step number 3. Step number 3. Do a crisscross. Do a crisscross and write the formula. And write the formula. So what do you mean by a crisscross? I will write the same thing once again here. So initially we have put a symbols, aluminium, and symbol for polyatomic group is SO4, and below that we have indicated their valency. Actually it is +3, but we no need to consider any sign. Okay, so here it is 3, here it is 2. So what do you mean by doing a crisscross? Say this digit, whatever is there, no, that has to be written here as a subscript for sulfate. Okay, and this digit, whatever you mentioned below sulfate, has to be written here. That means as a subscript for aluminium. So the 3 will go for sulfate, 2 will go for aluminium. Where do you write them? You will write them as subscripts. Okay, see, observe carefully. Al as a subscript, what digit you will indicate? 2. Okay, then bracket SO4, and here what digit you will indicate? 3. Okay, so this is what your formula for aluminium sulfate. This is the formula for aluminium sulfate. Okay, so here you have to be very, very, very careful, guys. The valency of aluminium will go towards sulfate. Valency of sulfate have to be written with aluminium. And where do you write them? You have to write them as subscripts always, not as superscripts. Okay, and never ever write this 2 here. Don't write it as 2Al, SO4, 3 and all. You know, all this is wrong. You cannot indicate, see, don't put 2 here also. Don't ever put, you know, something like this. This is wrong, this is wrong. You know, this is the correct way of writing a formula. Always you have to indicate the valency of one guy as a subscript of another guy. Okay, see, this is a positive part and this is a negative part in a formula. So the valency of a positive part should be written as a subscript for negative part, and the valency of a negative part should be written as a subscript for positive part. Okay, so this is the way of writing a chemical formula using valency. So let us revise once again. What is step number 1? The moment you see the name, try to put their symbols, and after that below the symbols indicate their valencies. No need of sign, and after that you have to just do a crisscross. Okay, that means the number below the first guy should be written as a subscript for second guy, and the number below the second guy should be written as a subscript for first guy. Okay, then comes your formula. Right? So this is the process of writing a chemical formula, and now we will learn many more examples. Okay, see, the first example I have written here is calcium carbonate. So how do you write its formula, guys? Calcium, what is the symbol for calcium? Ca, isn't it? And carbonate, carbonate is again a polyatomic group here. So carbonate, let me write it in a bracket. CO3 is the carbonate group. Okay, and the valency of calcium is plus 2. Valency of carbonate is minus 2. Okay. And what I told you, you no need to consider the signs I told. Okay. So only the digit you consider, but not the sign. So next what you will do, crisscross you have to do. This number you will write as a subscript for carbonate, and this number you will write as a subscript for calcium. Okay, so what do you get, guys, if you do that? Ca2CO3, CO3 twice, isn't it? But you see the number 2, it will get cancelled, no? 2 ones are 2, right? So ones are. So what is the formula of calcium carbonate? CaCO3. Okay, so when the digit is same for both the positive part and negative part, then you no need to consider the digit. Anyway, it will get cancelled, right? So you can indicate 1. And 1, if you indicate or don't indicate, it means that there is 1. Yes or no? If no number is there, so if I ask you if nothing is there, then which number would have been there? 1 only. So you no need to indicate 1 when it is there. Clear? Fine. Coming to the next example, calcium bicarbonate. So similar way, calcium symbol is Ca, bicarbonate is what polyatomic group? HCO3 is called bicarbonate group. Okay, and you have to be very, very careful with the polyatomic groups. Definitely you must know some common polyatomic groups with their valencies. Okay, so otherwise you cannot able to write the chemical formulae that easily. Fine. And what is the valency of calcium here? 2, plus 2 actually, but plus we no need to take. And what is the valency of bicarbonate? Minus 1, guys. Okay, so that minus we no need to take, just 1 you can consider. So after that what you will do? Crisscross you will do. This number you will write here and this number you are writing here. So if that happens, tell me what is the formula you will get? Ca1. Yes, this is 1. And 1 if you indicate or doesn't indicate, it will not make any sense. Okay, leave it. And bicarbonate, HCO3 in bracket. And what is the digit you are writing here? This one, isn't it? So 2. CaHCO3 twice is the formula of calcium bicarbonate. Fine. And coming to the next compound, sodium sulfide, guys. So sodium symbol is Na, isn't it? And sulfide symbol is S. Sulfide in the sense yes, guys. Okay. So usually while writing the name, this is a positive part. It is written with the element's name only. But the non-metal, this is a negative part, is always a non-metal. And this non-metal, whenever you write its name, IDE we will add at the end. Okay. So sulfur is its name, but we don't write it as sodium sulfur. Okay. We will write it as sodium sulfide. I told you, for a non-metal, for a negative part, whenever you write its name, IDE has to be added at the end. Anyway, I will discuss about names also a little later. Let us finish this. So here try to understand sulfide in the sense what element, guys? Sulfur itself. Okay, and now put their valencies below. Sodium valency is +1, plus I no need to consider. Sulfide valency, sulfur comes in 16th group element, oxygen, sulfur, right? 16th group elements valency is -2. Okay, so minus I no need to consider, just 2 you write. And now what will happen? This number should be written as a subscript for sulfur and this number should be written as a subscript for sodium. So if you do that, what do you get here? Na2S you will get. This is the formula of sodium sulfide. And now coming to the next compound, calcium phosphate. This is a very important chemical compound. Can you be able to figure out where is this chemical component present in a human system? This is present in our body, guys. Can you tell me which part of the body contain calcium phosphate? Teeth. Okay, human teeth is made up of calcium phosphate. Calcium is there in the form of human teeth. We keep telling, no, if you take more of calcium, teeth and bone will get stronger and stronger. Yes, so our bones and teeth contain calcium in the form of calcium phosphate. Very important chemical it is. Okay, fine. And how do you write its formula? Same old story, guys. Okay, write their symbols. Calcium symbol is Ca, and phosphate symbol is, again, it's a polyatomic group. Phosphate in the sense PO4. Okay, PO4 group is called phosphate group. And now write their valencies below. Valency of calcium is 2 and valency of phosphate is -3, guys. Anyway, I am not considering the signs, no, so just the digits I have put. Now do a crisscross. This digit should be written here, this digit should be written here as a subscript for calcium. Okay, if you do that, what do you get, guys? You will get Ca3 PO4 twice. Okay, so if you write the polyatomic group in a bracket, you can avoid the confusion, okay, while indicating a subscript. So always, if polyatomic group is there, better you put it in a bracket and then do a crisscross. Clear? Fine. And coming to the next compound, aluminium nitride. Okay, so what is the symbol of aluminium? Al. Nitride in the sense nitrogen, guys. I told you, no, just now I told you, if it is a negative part, and that too if it is a non-metal which is there as a negative part, you know, we don't indicate with its full name. At the end we add a tail. What is the tail? IDE. So what do you mean by nitride? It is N. And put their valencies below. Aluminium valency is +3. I consider only 3 here. Nitrogen valency is -3. So here also I'll not take that sign, no need to take. So do a crisscross, guys. This 3 goes here, this 3 comes here. So what do you get? Al3N3. I told you, no, if you have a same number, you know, it will get cancelled. 3 ones are 3 ones are, it will get cancelled. So you can just consider it as ALN. Okay, it means if no digit is there, it means there is 1. So you no need to specially, you know, indicate 1. When nothing is there, it is understood that there is 1. Okay, fine. Coming to the next compound, aluminium oxide. So what is the symbol for aluminium? Al. Okay, oxide in the sense oxygen, guys. Oxygen is called as oxide in a name. Fine. Aluminium's valency 3, oxygen's valency 2, guys. So this digit goes here, this digit comes here. So what do you write now? Al2O3 is the formula of aluminium oxide. Okay, so this is how you can use a crisscross method to write the chemical formulae of most of the compounds. But you cannot use this method for all the chemical compounds. Only certain chemical compounds can be given formulas using this. Okay, so we have some exceptions here also. You cannot use this method every time to write any chemical formula. This is what we call crisscross method. And now let us learn about the names. Okay, whenever you have a formula, how to write its name, that is what we are going to learn. Okay, the opposite part of it. See, now I have given you name, you wrote the formula. Next what we will learn is, I will give the formula, you have to write its name. Okay, so that part we will discuss now. So writing a name from a chemical formula, you have to mainly remember 4 rules, guys. Okay, they are very much interesting and very, very simple also. Say, what is rule number 1? Rule number 1 is, if the formula has both metal and non-metal, okay, then how to name it? If formula has one metal and one non-metal, one metal and one non-metal, okay, say then how can we write the formula? Say for example, I have a formula NaCl, okay, and in NaCl you can clearly able to tell sodium is a metal and Cl is a non-metal, okay, and this idea you should have, guys. You should have an idea about which is a metal and which is a non-metal. And usually how do you recognize which is a metal and which is a non-metal? That is from periodic table, okay. So you should at least remember the positions of some elements in a periodic table, which I taught you in video number 1, okay. So you can go back to the video number 1 and refer where I taught you the basic aspects about the periodic table, okay. So usually our periodic table contains 18 group, that is group number 1 to group number 18, guys, okay. So these are the groups present in our periodic table. And remember, group number 1 to group number 12, all these elements are metals, okay. And group number 13 to group number 18, all these elements are non-metals usually. Clear, everybody? Sometimes 13th group elements belong, some of the 13th group elements belong to metal category also. So you must know which element will come in which group. If you have a thorough knowledge on periodic table, you will come to know everything. Okay, anyway, about a periodic table we will study little later, okay, or you will study more about periodic table in the higher classes. But as of now, you should remember at least few things from periodic table, what I told you in the first video. That much try to remember, okay, clear, fine. And sodium is a metal, Cl is a non-metal. And one more trick I will tell you here. The first written element is always a metal. Next written element is always a non-metal, guys. Okay. So this way also you can able to remember. Okay. The element which is written first is a positive part. Metal is always a positive part, and it is written first. Non-metal is always a negative part. It is written later. Okay. Last. So name of the metal should be written as it is. Okay, so what you have to remember here, name of metal should be written as it is, should be written as it is, okay, no change. So what is its name? Sodium. So I will write sodium as it is, okay. But name of a non-metal has to be written differently. Okay, so here which is a non-metal? Cl is a non-metal. And what is its name? Chlorine. Yes or no? We don't write it as chlorine. Okay, the end should end with the letter IDE. Okay, name of a non-metal should end with certain tail. What is the tail? IDE here. Okay, so what I will write here? Name of non-metal should end with IDE. Remember this. Okay, so its name is chlorine. No, its name is chlorine. We don't write it as chlorine. Okay, this Ne we will remove, last Ne we will remove, I is already there, no, so De we have to add. So what is this name? Sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. Okay, got to know? So if it is a metal, its name is written as it is. But if it is a non-metal, its name we don't write as it is. Its name should end with a letter IDE. Okay, so this much you have to remember. And one more example if you want. Say, how do you write name for Al2O3? So which is a metal, guys? I told you first written element is always a metal, next written element is always a non-metal. Okay, so what is its name? Aluminium. Al means aluminium. Okay, and what is this? Oxygen, right? It's a negative part and a non-metal. What is our rule? Name of a non-metal should end with IDE, I said. So oxygen, no, we don't write it as oxygen here. We will write it as oxide. We will write it as oxide. Okay, so this is how you can name the formulae which contain one metal and one non-metal. Okay, and don't ever use, because 2 is there, so I will write di-aluminium, 3 is there, try, all this and all you should not use. Okay, when you have to use them, I will tell you now. Okay, so whenever you have a metal and a non-metal in a formula, this is how you have to name them. Name of a metal should be written as it is, and name of a non-metal should end with IDE. Okay, so this is our rule number 1, guys. And coming to the rule number 2. Coming to rule number 2. If you have two non-metals, if you have two non-metals in formula, if you don't have any metal, okay, no metal, okay, you don't have any metal in a formula, both the elements are non-metals only. Okay, say for example CO2 is there, carbon is a non-metal, oxygen is also a non-metal. Okay, so now how do you name this? See, the first written element's name should be written as it is. So what is its name? Carbon. What is its name? Carbon. Okay, and you know the next element's name should end with IDE only. But how many oxygen atoms are there? 2, no? So here we will write it as dioxide. Dioxide. Okay, actually among the two non-metals, this will carry a positive charge and this will carry a negative charge. The one which is carrying a positive charge's name should be written as it is, but the one which is carrying a negative charge name should end with IDE. Okay, and that too you have to mention how many negative charges are there. Here 2 are there, no, 2 oxygen atoms, so we have used di. Okay, so similarly SO3 is there, and now how do you write its name, guys? Sulfur, it's a positive part, it's a negative part. First element will always carry a positive part, next element will always carry a negative part. Okay, so sulfur, tri, if 3 is there, we will use the word tri. Okay, its name is sulfur trioxide. Clear? And say for example P2O5. What is P means what? Phosphorus. P in the sense phosphorus. Okay, phosphorus. So you no need to mention diphosphorus. Okay, for positive, guys, if it is there in 1 number, 2 number, 3 number, that number we don't mention like di, tri and all. Only for the negative guy, the last elements number we have to mention. Like if it is 1 mono, we will write. If it is 2 di, we will write. Okay, and here we have 5, no, so we will write pentoxide. Pentoxide. Okay, so this is how you have to write the names if you have two non-metals in a single formula. When you don't have a metal, you have two non-metals, then this is what the rule that you have to follow. Okay, so whatever the negative part, the later part, that means the last part of the formula should end with IDE, and also its number you have to indicate as if it is 2 di, if it is 3 tri, if it is 4 tetra, if it is 5 penta, like that. Okay, so this is the second point that you have to remember. And coming to the third point, rule number 3. Rule number 3, guys. Okay, when you have a polyatomic group, you all have an idea about a polyatomic group, isn't it? So when you have a polyatomic group, how to name a compound? Okay, so third rule you are talking about is about polyatomic group. When polyatomic group is there, polyatomic group is there, then what you will do, say for example NaNO3 is there. Okay, so this is sodium, and what is its name, guys? Nitrate. Okay, its name you should remember, it is nitrate. Okay, and one more formula we have, that is NaNO2, guys. Okay, and this is a positive part, its name is written as it is, but you see this is NO2, its name should be written as nitrite. Okay, you should have an idea when to write ATE, when to add ATE and when to add ITE in a formula. Okay, see, when you have, this is also, this polyatomic group contain nitrogen and oxygen, this polyatomic group also contain nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, and here you have maximum number of oxygen, here you have minimum number of oxygen. Okay, so whenever maximum oxygens are there, then you will end the name with ATE. Whenever minimum oxygens are there, then you have to use ITE while writing the name of a polyatomic group. Okay, so that is very much necessary, guys. That's all about basic idea on how to write a name for a chemical formula. You have to remember mainly the 3 rules, and you can't give the names based only on these 3 rules. We have some exceptions also. Say for example, there are some famous acids that we commonly use it in chemistry. HCl is there. You must have heard these acids: HCl, H2SO4, okay, and HNO3, H2CO3. There are certain formula here, and how do you write their name? These rules we don't apply here. They have a general name. Those names you have to remember. There is no other logic to remember their names. Okay, HCl can be called as hydrochloric acid. Okay, and H2SO4 is called as sulfuric acid. And HNO3 is called as nitric acid, guys. These are important acids. Nitric acid. H2CO3 is called carbonic acid. Some famous acids. Say NH3 is there. NH3 is called as ammonia. Ammonia is a base, guys. Similarly, H2O is there. So we all know its name. It is called as water. Yes or no? H2O is commonly called as water. So there are certain common names where these names are not written based on these rules, isn't it? That you can clearly observe, where you have to remember their names. At least these guys which you come across in your syllabus every time, you have to remember and memorize them. So with this, I complete a concept like how to write a chemical formula from a name and valency, and how to write a name from chemical formula. Both the ways we have studied. And in my next video, I will be talking about balancing chemical equation, where I will teach you a super trick to balance a chemical reaction. Till then, keep revising a concept, and please do check the description area where we have uploaded the previous video links. Don't forget to subscribe our channel to learn the chemistry in an easier way. Thank you so much.